Hi, I'm Thomas with Bleed and Run, and today we are psyched to have ASICS on with us. Just be a moment with Robert Fay, and he'll join us on this live one. We're going to talk a little bit about the ASICS GUIDESOLE collection, which includes the new METARACER. We're excited to have you all on for that. So when Robert gets here, we'll patch him in, and we'll start talking about the shoe lineup from ASICS right now. Thanks, Megan. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got this right, so we had it written down. Robert is the footwear merchandise manager at ASICS North America. So he'll join us in just a moment. And actually, I see we've got his, nope, we're not bringing on Eduardo Vasquez. Sorry, Eduardo. We are waiting there for Robert Fay. So let's see here. Bear with us. Still waiting. All right. And I don't know if you've gotten a chance already to read our review or see our video that we did for the METARACER. They're both up on YouTube. We also have our website review, which is up on believeintherun.com. So you can check out our initial thoughts of it, other GUIDESOLE racers that are on there as well. So you can also check out Evo Ride, some of our other ones here, Glide Ride. We're all going to be there, just waiting on Robert to pop on, and we will get started with ASICS. Getting questions, you're going to have to wait. Oh, thanks for thinking it was a great review, Cloud City Runner. All right. I would text Mac back to tell him that's great. Just go ahead and let me see if I can invite him in. There he is. I'm going to go ahead and invite him. So Robert should be popping up any second. And there he is.
Hey, it's Thomas.
It's good to see you again.
Good. Sorry for the delay there. How's your day going?
It's going great. I mean, as good as it can. We're on total lockdown.
Yeah, for sure. Not slowing down on the content front. Saw the METARACER review this morning. Appreciate the positive message on it. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, we're gonna keep as long as you guys keep putting out great product, we're gonna keep reviewing it. So we'll keep it going.
Awesome. What kind of questions or where do you want me to start from a product perspective?
I mean, I think it'd be probably pretty beneficial for everybody to kind of understand like what brought ASICS to the new GUIDESOLE technology and why it's important is like there's a family now. There's a whole sector of GUIDESOLE shoes. We've got some of them behind me here, including Evo Ride. I was just showing off my Glide Ride, which was the first one that I got into back when you guys started this one.
Nice.
Actually, not the first. And then, of course, the METARACER. The first one I got into when you guys popped this guy out.
Yeah, MetaRide. So MetaRide was kind of the start of our GUIDESOLE story. We always use kind of the meta name to introduce new concepts to the marketplace. And GUIDESOLE was a tech that for us has been kind of in the works for two and a half years at this point. So it's really been a marathon build-up to actual race day when the METARACER is going to launch. The first kind of commercial shoe to utilize it, Glide Ride, the idea there was how do we take an efficiency story to an everyday trainer or high mileage shoe? So we went for this kind of exaggerated stack height, and then GUIDESOLE is this extreme toe spring curvature to the shoe that basically promotes reduced ankle flexion, takes some pressure off the calves. We've tested it at our Institute of Sports Science, and actually up to 20% of kind of calf expenditure can be reduced via GUIDESOLE. So we had this tech, we felt really good about it, wanted to introduce it first for kind of long runs and build up miles with Glide Ride. And then from there, start to kind of get faster as we approached race day. So the next kind of step in that story was Evo Ride, which you pointed to, which is kind of the $120 product in the series. That kind of strips that GUIDESOLE down, gets you lower to the ground, a little bit firmer foam, comes in about 8.5 ounces and is really built for like snap, get on the track, do your tempo workouts, stuff like that in it, and really kind of feel an energetic ride and the want to pop and go faster. And then the last or kind of final concept is truly for race day. So we want to strip this package down, still give you the protection ASICS is known for, and drive the efficiency story of GUIDESOLE via kind of the lowest, lightest package in METARACER. So this will use a carbon plate to engage that kind of GUIDESOLE toe spring tech, which is bottom loaded under the outsole, which you kind of talked about in the review a little bit. And then the idea is promoting efficiency in the lowest package possible while still giving protection. So good lightweight cushioning underfoot and just ready to go fast. It's been validated by some of our athletes and is really a shoe that provides that experience.
Yeah, I mean, it was really noticeable in this shoe since it doesn't have a plate, has that firmer flight foam. The takeoff of the toe, that kind of like, I don't know, fulcrum, I guess you'd call it, behind the toes here, is really noticeable. This isn't really a rocker sole though, is it? Would you call it a rocker or is it different?
Yeah, it's similar to that idea. I'd say the toe spring or the shaping is more exaggerated versus some of the other rockers you see in the marketplace. So it really gives more of a roll, and it starts kind of earlier in your gait cycle versus what you see from a lot of competitors.
How does one measure like the 20% less load on a calf?
So our Institute of Sports Science is set up in our headquarters in Japan, and essentially it's a team of scientists that work not only on development of materials and technologies, but also the actual testing of it. So they essentially use sensors that measure expenditure of the calf. They do lactate tests where they are checking in on muscle fatigue, and then they look at overall body efficiency via heart rate, VO2 max, and stuff like that when you're running.
So is that just on elite athletes or do they do that for like the everyday runner as well?
Yeah, as a brand, ASICS has always kind of strived for the democracy of fitness and fitness improvement. So while we do certainly test the Sarah Halls and the Emma Bates of the world and those true elites, we also want to test. I always refer to myself as a Clydesdale. I'm 6'4", almost 200 pounds. We test people in that realm as well who are running more 8 to 9 minute pace for a marathon, and try to get as broad of a range of consumers as possible.
So if it works for elites and it works for the everyday runner, you think?
Absolutely, yeah. GUIDESOLE is built to work across a range of runners and gait cycles.
That's awesome. Of these shoes, you've obviously run in them all. You have a favorite?
METARACER is the sexiest for sure of the group, but I'm at a point in my life where the glide ride, where I'm going out at lunch for easy miles every day and all that's kind of my sweet spot. So looking for good cushioning underfoot and still an efficient rolling experience, that's my go-to.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about the METARACER, because I think that's something that you said it is the sexy shoe right now, and people want to know more about it. What can you tell us about the flight foam in here? Because I mentioned it's a little bit softer. I talked a little bit about the upper being more breathable, hydrophobic, but maybe you can give more details from a designer standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of from top down, the goal was efficiency all around. So we had testing from our Institute of Sports Science that ties temperature of the foot to basically heart rate running at marathon pace. So we wanted to deliver on the most breathable, lightweight upper possible. So this upper has kind of this unique ventilation pattern across the top of the foot, and then also has a funky little opening at the front of the shoe that connects back to one of our heritage models, the Magic Runner, which we released back in the 70s. And the idea was, how do you put an air conditioning unit to cool the foot down in a shoe? So we wanted to take that, bring it back into contemporary product, and drive that efficiency story not only through GUIDESOLE underfoot, but also from the upper. So the goal there was simplicity and breathability, and we felt we had really delivered on that. From a midsole perspective, continuing our flight foam story, this is a unique blend used in this product as well as in our Nimbus Light, which people have received very well. It's an eco-friendly version of flight foam that's kind of a softer but bouncy version of flight foam. So really built to absorb shock over kind of longer miles, later stages of the race, but give you some bounce and energy back coupled with that plate.
Wait,
and then under the plate.
This is the same foam as in... Sorry. This is the same foam?
It is, yeah. So
wow.
Obviously the setup is very differently.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's set very different, but it's the same material in and of itself. So Nimbus Light on the one end of the spectrum, built to deliver ultimate plushness. METARACER on the other end, built to provide protection and speed, but they can kind of share materials and have some kind of DNA
That's
connecting them.
interesting. I guess I didn't even, this feels so much more porous. I didn't even realize this is the same, is it a similar durometer and everything?
So it's a little bit softer in Nimbus Light from a durometer perspective, but a lot of the difference in feel is achieved through the shaping of the tooling, the stack heights, and the offset, stuff like that from an experience perspective.
Interesting. That's cool. I enjoyed running in this one. It's one of those trainers that I forget about a little bit because it's just that it's a daily trainer that, like you said, this is sexy. It comes in bright colors. This is great. I was like, oh wow, you're right. That's interesting. So this is also biodegradable to a certain extent, or is made
Yeah,
from
so
recycled materials?
exactly. Yeah. So we use cellulose nanofiber, which is a byproduct of the production of sugarcane. So it helps reduce waste in landfills, and that material itself lightens the foam and then increases the durability.
Cool. That's very interesting. I never would have put those two shoes together.
Yeah.
I see them and review them and stuff. Cool. So I know there's two different rubbers down here, right? Or is it one rubber, the wet grip?
Correct. Yeah. So it's called ASICS grip, and it's what the material is called is a wet sponge rubber. The idea is you don't need as much like texture or shaping to the traction, but when it
Yes.
gets wet, it gets kind of tacky and will perform equally well over dry or wet conditions. So it's really light. The smoothness of it underfoot helps to kind of connect to that smooth ride experience we were looking for, but it performs across a variety of conditions on race day.
Awesome. This kind of gives a little bit of a hint to the shape of I want to call it a lobster claw.
It certainly looks like that, yeah. So you can, on the back there where it separates, there's kind of fins to the plates, and then it extends in the forefoot in kind of a claw shape. So pretty unique to us. We tested a ton of plates, rounds and rounds of them with, as we talked about before, elite athletes and then general consumers. And we kind of landed on this shaping, delivering the rigidity we wanted and shape in the lightest possible package.
Yeah. And I had mentioned it in the review, but a lot of people right now are putting the plate in the middle of the shoe. I think it's a little more traditional to have it closer to the ground. And you guys have stuck with that. You made a decision to go with a bottom loaded plate. What's the thinking behind that?
Yeah, really the idea behind putting a plate or sandwiching a plate in the middle is to provide like rigidity to the foam itself because you have these exaggerated stack heights. With testing with our athletes, they felt like we could go to a lower stack height with that flight foam material and still get the protection they needed for 26 miles. But then putting all that foam, bottom loading the plate, we didn't need to sandwich it to add stability. So the plate's simply there to give you that curvature and give you that smooth ride. So by doing that, not having as much foam, we were able to put it as far away from the foot as possible and ensure that it basically guides you through that gait cycle right against the ground.
Yeah, and what was surprising to me with this is we've had some comments when we've shown the picture that people don't feel like there's a lot under the ball of your foot here. And when I've run in it, at first when I was putting it on, I was wondering, is this going to be enough cushioning? But in my miles, I felt like it was very comfortable with the amount of foam that's there. It doesn't need to be 2 feet of marshmallow.
Yeah, I think even versus kind of first step in, we've had wear testers try the product on and they're not quite sure, but once they get out and get some miles in it, they're surprised by how much protection really is underfoot at just 15 mils of foam in the forefoot.
Yeah. I happen to think that the shoe fit perfect to size 10, which is a half size smaller than I normally go. Is this shoe running a little large, or is this maybe I got an early shoe before, production goes in? Like, what's up there?
Yeah, so most of what's out in the marketplace right now is considered pre-production pairs. So there always are kind of slight variances as we dial it in. For the most part, we've seen people calling it out as running true to size, and
Okay.
we are confident the retail version, production version will be true from a fit perspective.
Yeah. For a racer, a faster day shoe, this one just fit me like perfect. Like the upper
Nice.
was great. Now, there's no removable footbed. And I would guess that if somebody wanted, like say that they were worried about the cushioning, would you guys recommend putting a custom or another footbed in here? Or are you like, hey, we want to keep it streamlined as possible?
Yeah, I think if you are looking for a bit more protection, you could go to something like an Evo ride to get a few more mils of stack underfoot and still get that guide sole efficiency story. It's going to be a little heavier, but if protection's your goal, that's probably the route I'd steer you.
Okay.
Certainly, if you need an aftermarket insole, you'd probably want to size up a half size just because of that kind of race fit and setup. But people can take that route as well.
Yeah. And we talked about the vents and the airiness of this upper. It's also hydrophobic. Why is that important in this shoe?
Yeah, so just looking across, what race day conditions could be, we felt not only is breathability a focus, keeping water off of the foot in general is a focus if it's on a wet day. So as we were building the product, our focus was on Olympic trials, Olympic marathons, some of the major marathons, and you see all sorts of conditions throughout the year. So adding that little bit of a treatment to it just helps shed water quicker and keep the shoe as light as possible, even, in the late stages of a race.
Awesome. Interesting. So I'm guessing this is the first year that we've seen this setup with the guide sole. This is something ASICS is staying with, and we're going to see in 2021, 2022.
Yeah, I think you'll see some more guide sole stories from us to close out 2020. And then to start 2021, you'll see Glide Ride 2, Evo Ride 2, some more updates in the racing series. And then we also think that this concept has been so well received, we can maybe push it out into some of our other more traditional products.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of traditional, some of our guys are reviewing the Cumulus right now, Cumulus 22.
Yeah.
I don't have one with me because I'm not one of the guys. Robbie, Jarrett, and Adrian. There we go. You got it. Can you tell us a little bit about that shoe?
Yeah, we're really excited. Cumulus 22, anytime you're 22 years into the life of a shoe, you've got to think, how do we reimagine and really push a product forward? And Cumulus was something we felt like was in need of a refresh and really kind of push the envelope on what that go-to daily neutral cushioning shoe was. So from a weight perspective, we're shedding almost an ounce of weight on it. It gets down to about 9.3 ounces in a men's size 9. Which is super competitive in the market. We added some additional flex grooves under the forefoot, and then also decoupled this kind of rear foot heel unit just to really smooth out the ride underfoot, enhance the flexibility, lowered the durometer of the flight foam here so it's even plusher. And then from an upper perspective, just strip the entire thing down of any hot melt or really kind of structure that may impede the foot, and just added a little bit of 3D print through the midfoot for the striping and just a touch of support, but it really is a barely there fit. Stays at $120, so we feel like this is lightest, softest, and kind of best experience a Cumulus has provided in years. So we're really excited about it coming to marketplace. We think the competition's going to have to scramble to stack up on this guy, so we're pretty pumped.
It's awesome. I know that Jared and those guys are really enjoying the shoe. In the past, it was a little bit of a heavier shoe, and it's nice to see it kind of coming into its own here and being something. What shoes would you say would be, if I was going to my local running store or running warehouse or one of those places, what shoe am I looking at in comparison to this shoe?
Yeah, I think anything that's a neutral cushioning shoe in that $120 to $130, maybe even $140 price point. So kind of across the board, we'd look at Cumulus, we'd look at Brooks Ghost, maybe the New Balance 880, Nike Pegasus would be in there. So there's a lot of competitors in that space. We know it. And we put all our resources behind really kind of being best in class in that space with Cumulus 22. We felt like we could win in that category. And we think we're bringing a really compelling package to market.
Awesome. Where does it fit in with, we saw the Nimbus Light, got Nimbus, Cumulus, all these. How does the story being told? Like this, I really understand the story and understand where this fits into the guide sole lineup. Where does that fit into that lineup? The clouds,
yeah,
I guess.
our kind of Cloud series of product with Nimbus and Cumulus is really just focused on bringing protective, neutral experiences. So where Nimbus and Nimbus Light are kind of be at the top tier, one focused on very much durability and cushioning, the other focused Nimbus Light on lightweight and cushioning. This will kind of be the go-to where if you need one shoe in the bag, or you're a runner who only wants to run in one shoe, whether it's training, tempo day, race day, working out on the treadmill, whatever it is. Cumulus is just a versatile kind of go do anything shoe.
Your
So
Swiss Army knife.
exactly, yeah. So something people on our team that travel, it tends to
Mm.
be what they put in their bag, and it just is, can make do in any situation for sure.
If I want stability, I'm going for
2000 and Kayano for sure.
okay. Not the GT is totally separate from that.
Sorry, GT 2000. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Sorry.
on the stability side. So that GT 2000 is the stability counterpart to Cumulus, and then
Okay.
Gel Cayano is counterpart to Nimbus at that higher cushion level on the stability end.
All right. Awesome. Well, here's the exciting part where I'm going to tell people how they can end up with a pair of ASICS shoes of their own with Believe in the Run. What we're going to do is we're going to pick somebody random from our email list. So if you go to our stories and you take a look, you can swipe up there and sign up for our email. It's a weekly email Robbie writes that's actually pretty funny. I don't know if you get it, but it's pretty satirical. But you can also go to our website and sign up for it, and that's at believeintherun.com. We're just going to pick a random subscriber and award them a treat from ASICS. So we're gonna hook that up.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate your time and loved being able to go through the lineup with you and understand the kind of branches of where ASICS is going with their different lines and how they all fit together. I'm really enjoying, I land a little bit more towards the midfoot. So this toe spring and this like pivot right here fits my stride. I feel fast in the shoes. I've said in the Evo ride, when I'm running in that, it's a shoe that you naturally pick up the pace in. I wouldn't normally think of it as a racing shoe, but it definitely could fit that place in someone's lineup if they don't want to go for a pure racer like the METARACER, or they want something in between. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the direction you guys are going this year. It's so much fun to have this product coming out, and I really appreciate you guys releasing stuff when the world seems to be closing down, that we're still able to see the work that you're doing and it's coming out and making it available, especially when running is one of the only things people can do right now.
Yeah, we hope everybody's continuing to get out, be active. That's kind of our brand's mission with Sound Mind, Sound Body, and obviously stay safe and keep your social distance while doing it. But best wishes to you guys, and thanks for the conversation on the product.
Yeah, this is awesome. We'll talk to you next time.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, bye.